do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But I do have hope for him. I think at season's end he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustlers, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Friday Night Freak Show has begun. We've got a full house on the program tonight. We're doing it the Bowden Blitz style to open up the show. Former Coach of the Year, Terry Bowden, steps up in here. We got a ton of college football to hit, and we've got a lot of college football action going on right now as we speak, including at the Rose Bowl. Always a scenic scene at the Rose Bowl. As expected, a ton of Iowa Hawkeye fans made the trip to Pasadena, California. The Iowa Hawkeyes, 8-1 to the over on the season, taking on a 3-5 UCLA Bruin football team. But don't kid yourself, UCLA are a good football team. They're 5-3 against the spread, and let me tell you, a lot of teams would be 3-5 straight up if you played UCLA's schedule. They played 4 teams, man, like in the college football playoffs, like basically. Dude, they played, they went to LSU, they went to Baton Rouge, they played the Oregon Ducks, they went to Penn State, and they played Indiana. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the schedule, like, you look at UCLA, I think a lot of people, UCLA, they're terrible, they're 3-5. Yeah, well, look who they played, all right? Look who they played a much tougher schedule than Ohio State have. Ohio State played the Ducks, and they lost, all right? It's like Michigan. Like, Michigan had played Texas, USC, Washington, Oregon, now Indiana. Like, Ohio State, they're, like, way overranked at 2, man. But I digress. We're not going to open up the show talking about Karen right now. Karen, we needed that. Touchdown UCLA. In-game total is now 50.5. UCLA have gone up and down the field. They've left some points on the field here tonight. Penalties have also hurt them, but we got a 10-10 game right now as the UCLA Bruins have just scored a touchdown. They're currently getting 5.5. They were getting 7. The total kept going up, hit like 46 in some spots. People started to realize that, you know what, Iowa games actually do go over the number. We got a high-scoring game going on right now in Wake Forest and California. I'm on the Demon Deacons here, plus the points. Speaking of which, Wake Forest actually play Michigan tomorrow. College basketball, we had a great college basketball game tonight with North Carolina and Kansas. I'm on Wake Forest, and the good news is, like, Wake Forest were down 10-0, and then they started scoring. The bad news is every time Wake Forest scores, Cal score quicker after. Like, Cal are just going up and down the field on these guys. It's 29-14. The second half has just started, and Wake Forest have the football right now. They're in a 3rd and 10 already, but they have the football. We're getting 7 and 7.5, depending on when you bet it in this game. So there's a puncher's chance down 15, but I got to be honest with you. I didn't think Cal would hang 29 on them in the first half. And I also didn't think the Memphis Tigers would be being shut out by the Rice Owls. I tell you, Rice are becoming a scrappy team that are giving people problems. Obviously they beat Navy. We know that. But now they go into Memphis. Memphis is like a college football playoff dreams. That bubble was burst. So I'm not surprised that they've suffered a little bit of a letdown since then, but I am surprised that they can't score in this game. Memphis are currently minus 140 on the money line right now. Rice are plus 110. Memphis are minus 1.5. As we stated, Iowa minus 5.5 right now. Total is 50.5. We really like the over of this game, and we jumped in on UCLA. It's a homecoming night tonight, homecoming game for the UCLA Bruins this evening. And UCLA, like I said, they're 3-5 on the season. All of their wins are on the road. They won at Rutgers, which surprised me. They won at Nebraska, which surprised everybody. They won at Hawaii earlier in the season, like their first game of the year. They haven't won at home yet. This is homecoming. This means a hell of a lot for them. They rolled out their badass uniforms. They got the diamonds in the end zone. Like the Rose Bowl is it's perfect tonight. It's a big game for the UCLA Bruins. If they could pull this out, it'd be a big time win for them. Plus, they're trying to get to a bowl still. So we got a 10-10 game there. We got a lot of stuff going on in the late night hours. We have an MLS playoff game coming up, actually. Let's get to this because we're going to have the coach, Terry Bowden, joining us. And Coach Bowden is not concerned about LAFC and the Vancouver Whitecaps. But I'm actually surprised that they're still playing. The Vancouver Whitecaps struggle down the stretch of the MLS regular season. They're a very streaky team, the Whitecaps. You know what I mean? They can win like 5 in a row, but then they can lose 4 in a row and look horrible doing it. And they're up and down, and they really stumbled into the postseason. They had home field advantage, and they wasted that. Then they ended up having to be like one of the wild card teams. And we talked about the insanity of Vancouver being the higher seed, but the stadium in which they played in was booked for like a motocross and like monster truck rally type stuff. So in other words, the stadium was filled with dirt. So they had to play their wild card game at Portland. Portland is one of the toughest places in MLS to play. All right. They had to play at Portland. They beat Portland 5-0. And then they have to play LAFC. LAFC, we know, one of the model franchises of MLS. They just won the championship, big-time program, big-time money, big-time salary cap, big-time payroll and all that. So they won the first game 2-1, and they're playing these best-of-3 series. And then Vancouver stepped up and won 3-0 at BC Place last week. So now we're playing the elimination game. Kickoff is in about 20 minutes' time in Los Angeles. So LA is always the place to be. You got the UCLA game going on. You got an MLS playoff game going on. We got basketball there. You got the Lakers. So I like the over of this game. And, I'm starting to think, at this point, maybe the Vancouver Whitecaps can shock the world. LAFC are a little bit, kind of overrated. They've won before, and people always just sort of assume they're going to kill everybody because it's LAFC, but they haven't, and they don't. So I think Vancouver are actually a live dog, and it's funny. The number keeps plummeting right now in this game. We really like the over 2.5. There should be 3 goals. There's been 3 or more goals in all 3 of Vancouver's playoff games so far. The total is 175 to the over in this game. And let's look at let's see if we can get a goal and a half here. You get half a goal / a goal Euro Asian handicap at minus 110. For the Vancouver Whitecaps. I'd like to get what's a plus 1.5 just to be nice. Plus 1.5 is like minus 200. All right, parlay material. We'll get back to it before kickoff once again. As I mentioned, we've got NBA basketball tonight. We got a good one going on with Boston and Brooklyn. The Nets are giving the Celtics all that they can handle right now. But J.J. Redick, new coach, J.J. Redick, basically called out the Lakers for their lack of effort. It was a 1-4 road trip. They're back home right now. They got a beat up Philadelphia team, but I'm really not too interested in this game because the point spread is 7.5. It's a lot of points to lay. Clippers are getting 6.5 against Sacktown. Total is 223.5. I think the over could be worth a look there. We got New Mexico and UCLA college basketball a little bit later on. So, of course, the former coach of the year, Terry Bowden, will bat leadoff on the program tonight. And we got an interesting and a wild story. I've heard of, like, everything. Listen, like, players fight, teammates fight, stuff happens. I've never heard of a team having the pilots grounding the team flight because of a fight. But the Auburn basketball team was on their way to Houston, Texas to take on the Houston Cougars. And the pilots had to ground the flight because a massive brawl broke out on the team plane, enough that the pilots were like contacting the FAA saying, we got a bunch of basketball players in a massive fight here. We got to ground the plane. Hey, the Friday Night Freak Show's begun, baby.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's do this thing. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. Shout out to all of our television affiliates, apps, platforms, smart TVs, networks, whatever platform you're watching us on right now. Sirius XM Channel 159. For all the radio listeners out there on the SportsGrid Radio Network, we always look forward to the Bowden Blitz. Former Coach of the Year, Terry Bowden, joins us every Friday night to talk college football, and we got a good one going on right now, Coach, at the Rose Bowl. That, for me, and I want to ask you what your favorite stadium is, but for me, just something special, like even watching it on TV. I had the opportunity to go to the Alabama-Michigan Rose Bowl game, the semifinal last year. Got goosebumps just thinking about it. And you got Iowa and UCLA in a dogfight right now. And I tell you, Coach, this new conference, the conference alignment, it's almost you got to be careful what you wish for. You look at USC struggling right now in the Big Ten, and you look at UCLA, much better than their 3-5 record, Coach. Can you imagine if you were a coach this year and you could tell people over drinks, yeah, listen, we're 3-5, but we went to Penn State, we went to Rutgers, we went to Nebraska, we played the Oregon Ducks, we played the Indiana Hoosiers, and we went to Baton Rouge and played LSU. I got to tell you, I think a lot of teams would be 3-5, Coach, with that schedule that UCLA has. But we got a fun one going on now.
You're exactly right. Now, I will agree with you. Of all the stadiums, and I've been in almost all of them, I still think the Rose Bowl, for the scenery, for the atmosphere, is still the best bowl game of all. The best stadium of all is the Rose Bowl. And I think I've been to every stadium, but it has been unbelievable. Teams that thought they were good, teams that said this conference isn't very good, that conference is good. We're beginning to find out the truth about that. I was in a dogfight with UCLA. I do think defenses are most important in games like this, and I will hang on, but it is a dogfight.
All right, Coach. So speaking of a dogfight, literally and figuratively, the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Ole Miss Rebels tomorrow. A football game that you're going to be at. And yes. I know you have fond memories of this stadium, Coach. And in fact, you've never lost here before.
I've never lost. I was 6-0. I don't know why that happened. I was 6-0 against Ole Miss during my days at Auburn. But this is going to be a great football game. I'm looking forward to being there. But Alabama, I still think it's a game in which Georgia is still the better team. It's Ole Miss. It's funny. In a big game, I still see them when they play the best teams. They don't quite come through. And they're always dominating somebody that's not on the top, but they end up getting beat by the best teams. I think Georgia's got this game. I think they're getting a point. I would go with Georgia on this game.
Coach, you think it's a fair comparison that Ole Miss are basically the Penn State of the SEC and Penn State are the Ole Miss of the Big Ten? Is that a fair comparison?
I think you got it right. I think that's the truth. Ole Miss has always been trying to catch up with the big boys. They've always been a game or two off of who the best teams are in the conference. And I think tomorrow, when Georgia comes to town, I'm not saying they'll beat them up, but they will beat them.
Now, they beat them up last year. They don't play all the time, but they did beat them up last year. What do you make of the Georgia turnovers, Coach? That's been the hot topic of conversation of why Carson Beck is turning the ball over so much. Is he trying to do too much?
Yeah, he is. I think Carson Beck sees what he wants to be, what he wants to be recognized, and he forces to all 3 interceptions last week, and he had 3. He's had, I think, 11 for the season. He's trying to force throws. He's trying to do things that he knows he shouldn't do. And I think that's going to keep them from winning a national championship, because I still think, along with Ohio State, they've got the best talent. But he is making way too many mistakes, throwing way too many interceptions. I think they'll get by this week. But down the road, I think it's going to catch him.
Coach Terry Bowden joining us. Coach, an incredible, if you look at the run that Georgia's on, I saw a number. They're 48-0, Coach, against everybody except Alabama in their last 50 football games. They haven't lost in 4 years to anybody else besides Alabama, who's the Florida Gators. It's an unbelievable run here. They just had that big game experience, and This is sort of it, isn't it? This is, like you said, Ole Miss, Penn State, the 12-team playoff almost created for these teams. They need to win a football game like this. And I'm really surprised, Coach, about the point spread. That is basically a pick 'em. That people give Ole Miss this much the benefit of the doubt against a team as good as Georgia.
I think it's the turnovers. I really think, the most important position on any team is the quarterback. When he's making mistakes, like Carson Beck has made mistakes, it throws everything off. Now, I think Georgia has got the talent. That's why I don't think it's about anything else. They lost to Alabama. That's who they lost to, because Alabama had more talent. I think you got a good head coach. He's got a great football team, but his quarterback is making too many mistakes. And that's what I think they'll win this game. I think he'll be so overcome last week with what mistakes he made that this will be a good game for him. But I think down the road, he makes one too many to win the national championship.
Coach, if you had your choice, if you had to pick one current college quarterback, it would be your quarterback. Would it be Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders? We just talked about Carson Beck, because I want to get to the Georgia Tech and the Miami game. Obviously, we know what happened last year when they fumbled the ball instead of taking a knee. But Is Cam Ward the best college quarterback in your opinion?
I think there's two that I love: Dylan Gabriel at Oregon and Cam Ward. And I favor Cam Ward because he's been everything to them. He's shown what he can do when they have to come back. And when Oregon has pretty much won their games, but I think Dylan Gabriel is the next closest thing to those two. Those are the two best quarterbacks in my mind playing college football today.
What are your thoughts on Mario Cristobal and the pressure that he's on? We talk about pressure on Ryan Day and these other coaches, but Cristobal has been on the hot seat in the past. And the way the game ended last year, Coach, against Georgia Tech, instead of going into the victory formation, they ran the football. They fumbled the football. They ended up losing. And I wanted your thoughts on this from a coaching perspective because the media has been on him. Reporter, last season obviously didn't end well. Is there anything that you're going to apply differently for this season? Cristobal, in terms of what exactly? That's why I like how he answered. In terms of what exactly? Reporter, of just learning from last season's game. Cristobal, we take every game like it's a new game. He doesn't want to talk about it. Do you like that, Coach? And he just says, shut it down. I'm not talking about that.
I think he learned from that game. He'll never make that mistake again. I've been coaching too many years. You sit on the ball right there. You don't make that kind of mistake. But he's not going to make that mistake tomorrow. He'll beat Georgia Tech. His team is on the way to the conference championship game and to the playoffs.
Man, I want to see a Colorado Buffalo versus Miami Hurricane playoff game, Coach, just for the swag, the bling. All right, more with the former coach of the year, Bowden Blitz, Terry Bowden on the other side.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from three.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. We're kicking it with the former coach of the year, Coach Terry Bowden, the Bowden Blitz. And, Coach, what a difference a year can make in college football. Last year at this time, the Michigan Wolverines were undefeated, and we're in the midst of going to the playoffs for like the fourth time in a row, whatever it is. And here they are right now trying to get into a bowl game. And they're taking on an undefeated Indiana Hoosier team, and this place is going to be a madhouse, Coach. College game day is there. McAfee has already based a show out of Indianapolis, so it's just going to be a zoo to begin with, and the atmosphere is going to be great there. and you got this Indiana team. They're not just winning, but they're actually like destroying teams. Do you think that they were they underrated in the original college football playoff rankings, Coach, or do you think it was a fair standing for them?
I mean, all you got to do is look at their past. They have not been at this level of play. And there's one thing difference about Indiana. Kurt Cignetti. I mean, Kurt Cignetti has changed that program around. Now, I grew up with Kurt Cignetti. His father was my father's offensive coordinator at West Virginia. Then he was my head coach at West Virginia. And we considered him one of the brightest offensive coordinators around, offensive coaches around. And Kurt, he learned from his father, and he's been great all the time. He's won everywhere he's gone. And I think he is such an experienced coach, even though it's his first year at Indiana. He's had years of experience. He grew up around the same breakfast table I grew up, and he knows how to coach football. I don't know that Indiana can keep him. He's probably the hottest coach in America right now, but they will win tomorrow. Michigan is going to go home, and I think I would pick Indiana and that 14.5 points.
Yeah, I hate to say it as a Michigan fan, Coach, but Indiana big. You know what? Because they don't take the pedal off the metal. They just don't. They have it all year. And they hate Michigan, Coach. Michigan have been kicking sand in their face for years, bro, for 75 years, Coach, so it's payback time.
Well, I'm not familiar with how much they dislike each other. I just know that Kurt Cignetti's team is playing great offense, they're playing great defense, and they are playing good special teams. All the way around, they are a solid football team that's going to be hard to beat right now.
All right, so speaking of playing great defense, it's been a problem for Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now they're going in at Baton Rouge. We know about this LSU offense. They don't even pretend to try to run the ball, Coach. They drop back and they sling it. What are your thoughts on this? This is basically a playoff eliminator, right? I mean, maybe when it's all said and done, there's going to be a 3-team in one day, but you don't want to be stuck with 3 right now. Not at this time of the year. This is a massive game and I'm thinking, Coach, too, if you're Brian, you and I have talked about it. Brian Kelly, sort of like these other coaches in these teams for years, and not to disrespect him, but he hasn't won a lot of big games. Been on the wrong side of a lot of these big games, and I know it's early, but the honeymoon's over in Tuscaloosa right now, Coach. And Kalen DeBoer, man, the natives are going to get restless. Either fan base is not going to be happy with losing this game tomorrow night, Coach.
No, when you put as much money into the program and your fan base is so big as Alabama and LSU, you can't afford a bad season, much less a bad third season for Brian Kelly. Of course, the first season, we knew it was going to be Alabama was going to be like. But this is a game, I'm going to tell you something. If LSU cannot run the football, they're going to lose. They've had 2 games against Ole Miss. Again, they lost at Texas A&M where they threw it 50 times. They barely won 1. They lost the other. When they can't run and throw it that many times, they're not going to win the football game. So they've got to get the running game together. I think they will just enough to beat this team because Alabama is not a dominant team right now like they used to be.
I noticed just a little bit of discipline issues, right? A few more penalties, players mouthing off at the refs a little bit more that they probably wouldn't have if Coach Saban was still there.
Well, you know what? And you see that every week. And I said the same thing. Sometimes when players get a new coach, they test them because he's not Nick Saban. Nick Saban is a disciplinarian, a very strong-minded coach. I think they begin to test the new coach, and now they're learning from their mistakes, but they almost lead the nation in penalties. They turn the ball over, and they make mistakes, not like a championship team. So I don't know whether this is going to be down the road, but they better correct it, especially against LSU.
Very un-Bama-like. Coach, we've got about 30 seconds here. A man that you're very familiar with and it grew up around you as well, Coach Deion Sanders, kind of flying under the radar. They're ranked 20th in the original college football playoff rankings, and they control their own destiny. They win out. They play BYU. They could be in the playoffs, Coach.
Well, you know what, Deion? I know Deion, and he's been quite close to our family and played for my father. He took over a difficult program. For him to do what he's doing with Colorado and putting in the position there, I think he'll do a great job.
Coach Terry Bowden, the Bowden Blitz. Always great, Coach.
what can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from three.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Thanks to the coach, Terry Bowden, for joining us on the program. Great stuff with the coach. Always so much I like to ask him. So he said he's going to the Ole Miss Georgia game tomorrow in Mississippi. No, he lives in Mississippi, from what I understand. So because I'm wondering, all right, you're the former coach of Auburn, and you're a Florida State guy and West Virginia guy, but you're going to this Georgia game in Mississippi, but he's going to the game. But I want to ask him, does he sit in the stands? Does he have a suite? Does the school hook him up? He was the coach of the year. He is a Bowden. Or is he out there tailgating with people? I want to ask him. You gonna go have a couple of drinks with the kids in the parking lot? So much I wanted to ask the coach, but we ran out of time. All right, before we bring Cam in, here's some quick notes here as far as the SEC is concerned. Great stuff by the CBS Sports Research team. Last four head coaches. This is interesting for the LSU game. Last four head coaches at Alabama all lost their first game against LSU. The last Alabama coach to beat LSU in his first game, Gene Stallings, 1990. Gene Stallings. Tennessee is the sixth SEC team in the last 50 years to hold its first 8 opponents to under 20 points. The previous 5 all won the national championship. Just saying. Throwing it out there, baby. No one's talking about the Tennessee Volunteers. I tell you what, I got a weird feeling Tennessee go deep in the playoffs, too. They're not easy to deal with. Tennessee's defense is freaking nasty, and suddenly their offense is inconsistent. But if their offense is on, you're not beating them. Just point blank. Georgia has beaten 35 top 25 teams since 2016. That's amazing. 35 top 25 teams. James Franklin's beaten 4, I think. Kirby Smart's got 35 wins against here's another wild one too. I've been talking about this. The Florida Gators are going to Austin, Texas this week. It's the first time since 1940 that the Florida Gators and the Texas Longhorns have played each other. You figure, man, at some point, some bowl game, sometime, you guys would have played, but no. Texas and Florida have not played since 1940. All right, so college football right now. We got ourselves a game at the Rose Bowl, and I've been talking a lot about UCLA this week, and a lot of people, like they always do, they roll their eyes at me. Oh, I don't know about UCLA. They're 3-5. You're a moron. They're 3-5 because their schedule is hard. They're winning 17-10. Cam Stewart in the house. UCLA Bruins, baby. I should have worn. You know what? I nearly bought a UCLA jersey when I was in LA last week, 2 weeks ago. But I had, and my bags were already cramped. I was like, I'm here for the Dodgers. But I've been betting on UCLA a lot this year. They're 5-3 ATS. They're getting 7, Cam. They're up 17-10 right now. And I talked a lot about the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are actually 8-1 to the over on the season. Total close at 45.5. In-game total is 50.5 right now. But UCLA are balling right now. They were down 10-0. They've scored 17 unanswered points.
Gabe, great call. It's not over, but I rode your way with the over in this game. I thought it was too light, like the dog in UCLA. And right now, they're the favorites in the game, -3.5. I can't lie. I actually had a side dish tonight, a side dish of rice. It started off very well. Now they're losing to Memphis 14-6. You know me. I got to have one garbage pick, but I will take rice again. At
a lot of side dishes in Cam's life. Not ladies' food.
Good call, Morency. Yeah, guys I got a side dish. I'm like, what? I got
Cam's girlfriend that gets suspicious. Yeah, Cam's side dish are egg rolls and General Tao.
Exactly. Yeah, no side dishes in the female, but I'll go a whole pot of rice at +11.5. Gabe, this is a real dumpster fire. But I think the Owls are in it. New coach. They cut one outright last week. They're only down 8 to Memphis. Let's rock.
I got Memphis on a moneyline parlay to close out. I took Dartmouth early, a little Ivy League action. I never do this, and you want to talk about dumpster fire, but New Mexico and San Diego State are playing football tonight. This would be a good basketball game, terrible football game. Rarely would I ever say I like the Lobos, like actually as a pick 'em on the road, but I think the Lobos could be the play here this evening. But we got our focus in on the Wake Forest game. Wake have just cut it to 8. I'm on the Memphis Tigers. We got UCLA at the over, so we got a lot of action going on. Let's bring in Lou, Captain Action. Lou's side dish is Taco Tuesday, an Arizona Diamondback game. Maybe a whiskey, cigars, and some bets. What's up, Lou?
White Claws and quesadillas. Lou.
Bets, margaritas.
Margaritas, yeah.
In there. Burritos. Bets and margaritas. I'll take them all. How you guys doing?
Great parlay,
Lou. I was at the Dodger game a couple of weeks ago doing they had the famous drink at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgerita. Stuff will mess you up too, man. They're pretty good. They're like $40. $40. Yeah, $40.
Ooh, I hope there's a lot of alcohol in there.
No doubt.
It's a double shot of tequila and a single shot of rum, I think, in it, mixed together. And with some, it's sort of like a Vegas style drink. Like I said, I showed a picture. It's a big blue, like sort of thing, but they go down easy. And I always love how, like, if you spill it on your nice white Dodger jersey, it comes right out. I like how they thought of that. If I was them, I wouldn't have done that. I would have made people buy new jerseys all the time. I would have told them specifically. I would have said, hey, listen, that blue stuff that you put in, make sure it doesn't come out easily in people's clothes. So they have to buy new, like, the Dodger jersey is so white, Cam, right? Like the first time I did, like somebody bumped into me. I didn't even spill it myself. Someone bumped into me and it went all over my sleeve. And I was like, oh my God, my white Dodger jersey got like blue slush on it now. Came right out. And I realized this stuff comes right out.
Move, Gabe. That's the best. You're excellent. Make them buy more.
Yeah, my mind thinks. I'm like, yeah. Make sure that dye doesn't come out, so they got to buy a new jersey if they spill their drink.
Yeah, even with the quality detergents like Tide, like it won't get through there. Amazing.
Hey, that $770 million Ohtani contract doesn't pay itself, Cam.
You're damn right it don't. Ooh, Rice is moving big time inside the 25. But big play. Here we go.
All kidding aside, you know what? I wanted to get to the hockey game. Yeah. And I lose on a big regular season hockey better, but we're already off and running here. Vegas is up 2-0, guys. 2-0 on the Kraken, Cam, and the Minnesota Wild are up 3-0 on the Ducks.
Gabe, I can't lie. I thought it might be a good spot for the Ducks, and they're down 3 goals. Hey, we got to be transparent on the show. Minnesota's just on fire, and I told you last night they're good, but on a back-to-back, beating these guys down after the Sharks, so they came to play. But let's do this, Gabe. I'm getting Anaheim plus 3.5 right now at 10 cents a juice. I'm willing to take my chances. Quack, quack, quack.
I can't argue. You're getting 3.5 goals. All right, so
Gabe,
listen.
Very quickly, and your Vancouver Whitecaps, huge game against LA winner. It's 1-1 in the series. You can get Asian handicap with Vancouver. You can take them either plus a half goal for regulation to plus money, +1, or you could take the +1.5 and lay juice. I think it's going to be a tight game. They beat them. This Vancouver team, they're actually really the game. I know they've lost a lot of games, but they beat Portland 5-0. Like, these guys are tougher than people think. I'm going to take a shot with the big pooch, Gamblu style.
Yeah, I'm on the Whitecaps as well, +1/+1.5. We really like the over. And you're right, Cam. This Whitecap team has showed a lot of heart. I talked about it off the top of the program. They had to play their wild card game, even though they're the higher seed, because of the motocross. The stadium was filled with dirt, so they had to play at Portland. They beat Portland 5-0. Then they lost 2-1 on the road to LAFC, and they bounced back with a 3-0 win. This team is super resilient. LAFC are a little bit overrated as well, to be honest. This is Vancouver's fourth playoff game. So they played the wild card game, 2 games in this series. All 3 of their previous games have had 3 or more goals scored. So over 2.5 is -175. We're hopping in on that, and we got the Vancouver Canucks on the Asian handicap. We'll get into some MMA with Lou, but Lou, the football team in your backyard, the Arizona Cardinals, gunning for their 4th consecutive win. Pretty crazy, because this team couldn't win 2 games in a row, Lou, and now suddenly they're on a 3-game win streak.
Couple things happened to the Cardinals 2 years ago. Number one, the young kid Murray got injured and had to take some time away from football and realize what a great game it was for him and how much
he was humble. Yeah, hit this on the other side. He's changed.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from 3.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. The Friday Night Free Show continues. Thanks to the coach, Terry Bowden, for joining us on the show. Quick college football update. Every time Wake get back in this thing, man, Cal respond. Got to give credit to Cal's offense. Their offense has been on fire the last couple of weeks. 36-21 Cal right now, late in the third quarter of play. We're at the half at the Rose Bowl. UCLA are up 17-10 on the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes. UCLA were getting 7. Now they're laying 3.5. UCLA have done this a lot, where they've had the lead and they lose a heartbreaker after at the end. I'm on UCLA plus the points, but I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't think anyone's like plus 3.5 with Iowa is not a bad play. Rice have been a scrappy underdog, and they knocked Navy off. Now they're giving Memphis all that they can handle. It's 14-13. They're getting 6.5 in-game. The total is 50.5. And the train wreck of the night tonight, New Mexico and San Diego State. The game is a pick 'em for a reason. It's like, all right, you decide. I lean Lobos. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. But we got Lou in the house. So let's get Lou's professional analysis and opinion on the NFL and the UFC Vegas 100. But Lou, I asked you about Arizona and the Cardinals, and you went into Kyler Murray. And, one thing about Kyler Murray, too, he was liked in college. So, like, he wasn't like a diva in college. He was liked. He was tough as hell. His teammates liked him. And he got to the NFL. He got rich. And he changed point blank. Like, he had friends telling him basically, like, dude, like, you're not the same person anymore. Like, you have headphones on. You don't listen to anyone when they talk to you anymore. Like, he was like, I know I'm Kyler Murray type of thing. And he was detached from his team. And as you were saying, Lou, he got hurt. And, there was talk. Is he going to be our quarterback? How good is he? Can he stay healthy? Is he a leader? Is he selfish? And he seemingly took it all to heart, Lou.
Yeah, the leadership thing came up. The relationship with Kingsbury came up. In comes this Gannon. And I could tell last year that when Murray came back, two things happened. He was playing for the head coach as well. Before he got back, the team was playing for this new head coach. And this year, they've continued to play for this head coach. And it's interesting because there's some front office and back ownership snafus going on with Arizona that aren't really desirable right now, but the team isn't showing it. And between Murray coming back with focus and this new head coach, this team is overachieving, and I think they're done. I don't know what they did from last week to this week to have the Jets come into town and be a 1-point underdog, and now the Jets are 1.5-point favorites. I don't know how or what kind of thinking makes that happen. There's been money on the Jets all year long. It's been misplaced money. I believe it's misplaced money this week.
Gamblu in the house. Lou, is there another game that catches your eye this week in the National Football League?
Best bet I got for you is Houston plus 3.5 at home.
Whoa.
They've been on the road, 4 straight weeks. They've been on the road. This is their first game home in 4 weeks. They're bringing out their new fancy red uniforms, and they are in just a super spot with Detroit coming in after being in Minnesota last week. They're on the road again this week. Great spot for Houston.
Cam, your thoughts?
I love Lou. Bold. That's what he is. He's bold sauce, Morency. I tell you, and it's funny when you talk to people, Gabe, when you say consensus, I don't know one person, not even one, other than Gamblu, who likes Houston this week. Not one. Detroit. That's the thing. And, Lou, when we did those dumpster picks, we went 2 out of 3. Morency was at that Dodger game, the best game ever when you were on the show. And I think it's one of those picks, Gabe, that a lot of people are just going to blindly bet Detroit, and I think it could be dangerous. I'm with Lou. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but if I get 3 in the hook, I will be with the Houston Texans.
One thing I'll just bring up is the injury situation for the Houston Texans, and I agree as far as the spot is concerned. Listen, I thought Detroit were in a bad spot last week at Green Bay. They're almost adverse to bad spots, this team, but Will Anderson is not going to play in this game. Nico Collins doesn't look like he's back. Now Tank Dell is injured, and now he's on the injured list as well. They're kind of running out of bodies, this football team, but I understand the bad spot. I understand the bad situational spot here for the Detroit Lions. Lou, I've always thought of you as a Bears guy, so I'll ask you about the Bears and the Patriots game. The Bears were sort of, the Bears were starting to win some football games. It was never really pretty, but they were winning games. People are always going to come for Eberflus quickly as soon as they start losing. So They need to put a fire out here. Is this a get-right spot for the Chicago Bears, speaking of situational spots?
You know, I'm not so sure if it is or not, Gabe. I can tell you there'll be mutiny on the bounty if New England comes in here and beats the Bears. Listen, the Bears issue is the same as the Jets, and it's the same as the Cowboys. Only the Bears is more pronounced and more generational in that the ownership there, which has been since Papa Bear left, is inept. And they're the finest people. They're civic leaders, reputable, honest as the day is long, great people. They got no business owning a football team. And as long as the McCaskies own the Bears, they're going to spin their wheels in oil and get nowhere. Everybody says, well, it's the coach. Yeah, it's the constant role of coaches that go through there. They don't develop anyone. They took this kid that's the backup in Pittsburgh, screwed with him long enough out of Ohio State. Now he goes to Pittsburgh. Tomlin has him. He wins 4 games for the Steelers. So the Bears' problems are institutional. I can't tell you how they're going to do this week or not, but they got big problems, way bigger than the Patriots.
The Bears' problems are institutional. I like that. I like that.
That is good.
And Bears fans are institutionalized because of their failures.
They should be.
You know what?
Yes,
though?
they should
I think it's almost a good comparison, though, Lou. I'll give the Bears. They're better than the Jets as an organization, but they are essentially the Midwest Jets, like in a way. Like they're just sort of doomed for failure, no matter what.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from 3.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Quick college football update right now. 36-21 Cal, but Wake Forest are on the 4-yard line. So just score the damn touchdown. Go for 2. Go for 2. Go for 2. And get a stop here. Nice. Yeah, man, I'm getting frustrated in this game. I got +7 too. I don't have +8. We're down 15. I don't appreciate Cal going for 2 that time and busting breaking the point spread cycle up the way they did. 17-10 UCLA at the half. 17-13 Memphis Tigers at the half. 7-0 Lobos. Lobos get on the scoreboard. You know what? San Diego State are 3rd and 7 on the 25-yard line right now. I like this now. I said before I like the Lobos. It's one of the degenerate games, but there's not even any difference, even though they're up 7-0. They were minus 110 before. Now they're up 7-0, and it's minus 125.
Yep.
So it's not like I'm jumping in on a bad number and I'm chasing. Good number for New Mexico here. San Diego State's offense is putrid. There won't be able. New Mexico's offense is actually pretty good. Their defense isn't, but San Diego State's offense isn't good enough to take advantage of it. UFC Fight Night, UFC Vegas 100. We've got the expert in the house, Gamblu. And Lou, we lean on your opinion on this card. Whoa, boy, you look at this card. This is a tough one. Let alone bet on these fights. I can't even say the dude's names. What's this? Mansour Abdul Malik, Dusko Todorovic. We got Bolonis and Romeus. I know Mearshart and Ritter. Magny's a big underdog. So this is kind of the scraps of the scraps here, Lou, isn't it?
You hit it on the head, Gabriel. We're at the end of the year.
I was trying to be nice. I was like, I didn't feel like a jerk saying scraps and the scraps, but sorry.
Well, listen, the UFC gives us 44 to 46 cards a year.
Yeah,
they do a great job, but they got a lot of the 700 fighters. They got to get them all cycled through. We're at the end of the year. Fighters need fights. They're throwing guys together on cards, and there's some well-known names on this card, but then there's some more obscure fighters. Magny's a huge dog. He's in the main event fighting a guy named Carlos Prates. Prates is a killer, but he's stepping up big time. And I think that Prates is a legitimate 350 favorite, but 850 against a guy like Magny with his experience and his wherewithal, he is not a bum and he's not a journeyman, and they're pricing him like that. They give him killers all the time. He does nothing but take them. 2 fights ago, they gave him the killer from Canada in Canada, Mike Malott. He got his brakes beat out for 2 rounds and submitted Malott. Last fight, he gets beat by Colombian Mike Morales, and so everybody thinks he's a bum. I like the over in this fight. I think if you want to bet for Magny and you want to go to the over, that's a great consideration. More so, fight starts. The over 1.5 is a great consideration. You go over 1.5 minus 130 in that fight. That's kind of where I'm heading, because I think it's going to take Prates some time to navigate Magny with his experience. Now, if we're looking for some underdogs, we got to go earlier in the card. And we got a kid that's fighting here out of Phoenix, Trayshawn Gore. He's one of the first 2 or 3 fights. He's a 185er, fast, explosive, young, really, really raw, still refining himself. He's fighting a guy that was in mixed martial arts for many years, has a lot of experience left, freshened up, and came back. The guy's 6'5", has a really long reach. And Trocoli, the Brazilian who fights Trayshawn Gore, going to be 7 inches taller, have a 7-inch reach advantage. And in his last fight, he fought this Shara Magomedov. He traveled from Brazil to Abu Dhabi, in very short time, take a short notice fight. And when he was tired and gassed, he was fighting hard. I really like him in this fight against Trayshawn Gore, and you can pick him up at plus 170 or maybe even a little bit better. Then the other one, a fighter you've heard of, Gabriel, is Cody Stamann, short, stubby, little fire hydrant of a guy, wrestling based. He is fighting a young man by the name of Blackshear. Blackshear's long, tall, looks the part, very well rounded, and a favorite. But Blackshear's lost his last 2, and while he enters desperate, Stamann is these guys have trained and they know each other. I think Stamann's in a real good position here. Stamann opens at plus 145. Now you can catch him at plus 2.25, so he's a bargain.
Gamblu.com. Lou.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once it got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from three.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. We're already into level 2. Quickest 120 minutes in sports talk and television radio tonight. Thanks to the coach, Terry Bowden, for joining us. We had Lou, Gamblu.com, with us as well. So, Wake Forest. We talked about Wake Forest going for 2. They did go for 2. And we got ourselves a track meet and a football game that I, surprisingly enough, did not bet the over in. I took Wake Forest plus the points, and I have Wake Forest on the money line. I didn't think Cal should be this big of a favorite, but maybe I'm wrong here because here's Cal moving to football again. 36-29 right now. The in-game total is 77.5. Meanwhile, the second half has just started at the Rose Bowl, and Iowa get the football first. Let's bring in Mr. Rob Vino right now, wagertalk.com, and a fellow Dodger fan. What's going on, Rob? How you doing?
I am good tonight, Gabe. How are you guys?
So how much money did you end up spending? You told me after when the Dodgers won that night. You said, I'm on the website right now. And it's funny because I was watching a celebration, and it crossed my mind, because I did it last time too, and it crossed my mind. I was like, I better go online here soon. And then you sent me the message. Then I went on, and I see, like, man, stuff is selling out already. It was the same thing in L.A., I spent, I did pretty good, actually, I think, Rob. I contained myself, actually. I spent $371 after the game on merchandise. What did you spend?
Pretty close, Gabe. I want to say it came close to about $350 what I spent. Stuff is still coming. Just got one to the house today, a hoodie. So, yeah, we were, I was waiting for World Series gear. The rest didn't really mean much to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The playoff stuff, the division stuff, it just didn't matter much to me. It had to be World Series gear this year.
No,
So
exactly.
we finally got our wish.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
You guys are no plan. Had to be World Series gear. God, it must be nice being a Dodger fan. I know you guys, winners. I'm losers, Rob. My team suck. Good for you guys.
I got the nice trucker hat coming, Rob. I'm looking forward to it. World Series champion, the nice trucker flex hat.
Yeah.
So I got the hat. Same thing. I got 2 hoodies. 2 championship hoodies. The hat and a championship banner for the wall that we'll put up next baseball season.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Well, not a
Banner.
banner, but a banner. You know what I mean? Whatever. A sign, a championship sign, whatever. Tied to my Michigan one I got last year. We just keep adding them.
And I've got a set of four shot glasses, guys, in case we ever meet up. We got 4 shot glasses.
Nice, Rob. Yes.
They literally sold everything of everything, but yeah, mine says it's coming November 20th to December the 11th, whatever the hell that means. So, but whatever. Yeah, I got to wait for this. It is what it is. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm just waiting for them to announce the home opener date. I know they're opening up in Japan, right? This year, but I'm not going to the Japan games, obviously. But I want to go to I want to go to the game where they hang the banner. So, you know, I wasn't there when they won the championship at Yankee Stadium. I was there for game 1, but I want to be there for the banner. So, Rob, I talked about the track meet that's going on here at Wake. I only took Wake plus the points. I wasn't sure. I mean, Cal's defense is pretty good. I didn't think this game was going to turn into a track meet. Did you bet the over of this one?
I did. I thought, Wake Forest home games have all tended to go. They were like 69 plus 3 of the 4 home games. And interestingly, Cal's road games were all unders. Right? Every time they went on the road, it was an under. But Wake has a tendency to be able to score points at home. So I thought they could do their share. I was almost positive Cal was going to do theirs, 34 or more. And it's worked out fairly easily. But I'm a little upset with this San Diego State missing touchdown passes on that last drive. I do have that game over the 65.5.
I took New Mexico on the money line. Iowa. So what's going on here? Iowa are now getting 5.5 points in this game. What about this one, Rob? The Iowa Hawkeyes 8-1 to the over on the season. The total did creep up. It was 44.5. They ended up closing at like 45.5. Did you bet the over this one?
Nah, I missed the boat there, Gabe, and I should have been on it because both past defenses have been suspect. I just thought that UCLA's inability to run the football, they're last in the nation in rushing. I thought that maybe Iowa with their 12 interceptions
they're running the ball well tonight.
Would make it.
They've had a couple of big gash runs tonight.
Absolutely surprising to me. Like I say, I thought that the Iowa side was going to be able to stop them. And then we know Iowa's been scoring, so I should have been on points, but so be it. Well, maybe we can get involved in this in-game right now. Who knows?
47.5. Rice and Memphis are at the half, guys. 17-13. This was a sort of wise guy. I don't know about wise guys, but I know there's some people I respect, and there are some sharp people out there that were hammering the under of this game, Rob. Did you see the same wind blowing in that direction with Rice and Memphis tonight? But it's playing to the over right now.
Yeah, again, you know what? Shame on me, Gabe. I think what they saw last week out of Rice. Sometimes I have too much respect for money. You know what I mean? And this was one of those cases.
Yeah.
You know, they fired Bloomgren and they come out and they defend really well against Navy last week. And it seems like maybe they've got a new life, but Memphis is a different animal. And certainly Memphis's defense not all that great. So, I kick myself as I watch New Mexico. They've now got touchdown runs in this game, Gabe, of 51
touchdown
yards.
Lobo.
Lobo.
Yeah, 14-3, Cam. Yeah, 14-3.
Good start for our Lobos, Morency. Excellent start. We'll take it.
Yeah, I didn't love this game, Rob, but I said earlier, like the Lobos, it's San Diego State's offense is terrible. That's the problem here, right? So do you think they can move the ball against New Mexico? That's the question, because we know New Mexico can score. And the thing with this is, too, San Diego State don't have a home field advantage. Their football, they built a nice new stadium, but the football program's imploding. It's just a basketball school now. 68.5 now, Rob, in-game total. You got a 60.5, huh? You're looking good?
Well, I've got 65.5 full game from the opener.
Oh, 65.5.
So I'll sit with that right now. You figure New Mexico gives up 40 a game, and San Diego State with Sean Lewis, he brought that Kent State flash fast over to San Diego State, so I just thought there would be enough possessions because San Diego State does go so fast and the other team's defense is so bad. They drove it last drive right down to the goal line and then just absolutely missed a wide open back out of the backfield. We'll see if SD State can do some damage here the rest of the way.
What about the 63.5, Miami, Florida, Georgia Tech?
I mean, it's the guy who invented in-game or started to allow in-game betting is great because with Miami,
Yeah.
You have to just sit there. You wait till they get behind, and then you just go open up all your apps and pound Miami once they're behind. It's so easy to do. So we'll hope that Georgia Tech gets ahead tomorrow. I didn't see the final status on Haynes King, quarterback for Georgia Tech. I know a lot of guys in our industry, fellas, that think that Georgia Tech plus the points is a good side. I don't know how you feel if Haynes King is quarterbacking, but it's just so hard not to get to Miami over the way Cam Ward and those guys rack up points.
Every Miami game, like you said, like shame on me, every Miami game's the same thing. I look at these totals before the game. I'm like, dear God, this is high. And I end up watching the games, and I end up like betting like in-game over under 94.5 or something. I'm always like, son of a bitch, I should have got in on this. And I'm clicking away Cam. I'm like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? I always get a bad number. So it's like, if I lose, I lose. I'm taking over 63.5 in this game. Because they don't stop anybody. No, teams go down the field on Miami, but then Miami score quicker on you. Yep. It's almost like, so it takes you 10 plays or whatever, you score on them, and then it takes Cam Ward like 3 plays, boom, 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 and they score the touchdown. Hey, it's not just last year, though. Georgia Tech have given Miami problems over the last like 5-7 years.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take the Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. On the Friday night freak show, Tony Finn will be the freak part of the freak show. So California, you know what? This is actually a win for Wake Forest in the sense that they actually held them to a damn field goal, right? So they're down 10 right now. I got them +7. The money line, whatever. The money line's not going to hit. They're +1,700 on the money line right now, but they have the football. They're down by 10. and we're getting +7. They need the field goal. I think I'm 7.5, actually. Let me double check here. Actually, I got them +9, -138. So either way, I still need points, though, so it doesn't even help me. So either way, I still need the point. Iowa and UCLA, this game has hit a wall a little bit. Still 17-10 right now. Iowa are still getting 3.5. In-game total is 47.5. 14-3 for the Lobos over the Aztecs after the first quarter of play. And the second half has just started. Memphis with the football right now, 4th and 1 on their own 45-yard line. CFL playoffs tomorrow. Rob Vino is a CFL backer and fan. And, Rob, it's been a lot of fun this year, the CFL. We posted picks for pretty much every game. I missed 1 weekend in Vegas where I didn't post picks, and there was another once I didn't post picks for like 2 of the 4 games. But we're 28 games over 500. So, it's been just a locked-in, dialed-in, weekly basis thing. Last week, same thing. I promised people before, and I said I'll give you a side, a total, and a teaser for every game. 3 picks per game. And last week we went 5-1. The only thing that fell short was we hit the teaser with BC, but BC screwed us. The game didn't get there with the total. But nevertheless, it gets trickier now, though. The CFL playoffs are always wild stuff. And you have the Toronto Argonauts, Rob. They just hung 58 on the Montreal, on Ottawa. Now they go into Montreal. The total is 52 in this game. I'll just cut to the chase. In the old days, Rob, CFL playoffs, there would be bad weather, bro. It would be cold and stuff. And it really would be cold and windy, and the ball would be hard. And you know what I mean? There's the class. Watch the old CFL Classics, bad weather. Dude, players aren't even wearing sleeves anymore. Fans are in hoodies and stuff. Weather's not a factor in Montreal or Winnipeg this weekend. I think both games are going over, Rob.
Yeah, good weather. You could see it, right? Toronto has absolutely hit another gear as far as offense is concerned. Chad Kelly out for the first, 9 games, but now they're starting to roll offensively. And, of course, Montreal's rolled really all season long. The other side, we were just talking off air the other game. It's just interesting to see Winnipeg now in this position after the way they couldn't score points. I think I remember coming on with you guys, maybe we were 8 weeks into the season, and Winnipeg was nothing but a field goal team. Field goal. No wide receivers, no passing game, no nothing. And here they are laying 4 with a total of 48 against Saskatchewan, who generally we like to play overs with, Gabe. The Saskatchewan Roughriders pretty much a over type team.
One thing with the Toronto Argonauts, yeah, they're hot right now. They're also only 3-6 on the road, this team. The Argos are a good home team, and they're not a great road team. They're 3-6 on the road. But the Montreal Alouettes have only lost 2 games all year at home. And, same thing with last year. They don't lose at home very often, this team. Montreal, it's like the game is sold out tomorrow. Weather's going to be fine. 45 degrees, 4-mile-an-hour wind, so weather's not really a factor. It'll be a little cool, but the thing with Montreal is it really annoys visiting teams, and they tell the league you should allow this, but it's like cowbells at Mississippi State camp. People in Montreal love their horns.
Horns, yeah.
They have these big plastic horns in Montreal, Rob.
I love
And you got a bunch of drunk dudes. There's it's just basically a piece of plastic that but it creates this sound. And the Alouettes for years, it's like a Montreal thing. Montreal Canadian games, they used to have people with the horns and blah, blah. And it's loud as hell. It becomes a pain in the ass. And it's a very college football-like stadium, this stadium. It's a Canadian University college football stadium they play in. Now, the Alouettes put extra seats on it. It holds 30,000 now. But it's very loud in there. It's on a mountain. Though, the acoustics sort of bounce around. It's a very difficult place to play. People in Montreal are psychotic. They're all going to be wasted in the afternoon here tomorrow. It's going to be loud as hell. They're going to be blowing on horns and ringing cowbells and stuff.
There you go.
They're going to beat the Argos. They're going to beat the Argos tomorrow, Cam. They're going to beat them. The Alouettes are going back to the Grey Cup.
I love the foghorn and the horns way more than the cowbells because the cowbells
the foghorn. That's what it's called. Good call. Yeah, the foghorn.
Yeah. It's like that old character, Foghorn Leghorn. I says. But I'm going to tell you something, Gabe.
Oh, and also they have a really loud announcer.
Yes.
That's
yes. That guy's crazy.
They have a really loud announcer that talks like throughout the entire game, like a DJ in Montreal.
Awesome.
And they play like rave music during the game. So like, you know what I mean? Like in between plays, they'd be like, "Touche, Moria!" Boom, boom, boom. And the cheerleaders start like a rave. It's wild. It's actually a wild building, man. Like they're gonna win tomorrow. You'll see. They're gonna win that game. And this is just for CFL history. So Montreal is kind of the coolest party stadium, but without a doubt, the drunkest people are the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans.
Yeah.
Like, watch tomorrow in the game, guys. Anyone watching the game? Every fan will not only have a drink, but they'll be double fisting.
Quad.
Everybody. Like all fans, when they stand up, you'll all see they're all holding two beers.
Yeah.
Like it's like a prerequisite. Like you must have two at all times.
What it is, Gabe?
And watch the stairs. You'll see people like in the Bombers game, like sort of tumbling and like, whoa, that girl just took a tumble down the stairs. Like they're all slipping and falling around everywhere. They're a lot of fun, though, Bomber fans.
I agree. I know a few Bomber fans, and they're the professional drinkers, and they keep it under control. Like they're not guys who are going to start fights. Ryder drinker gets a little bit lippy, if you know what I'm saying. He gets a few too many Pilsners in him. He wants to beat your face in. I like old Bomber fan. They just sit there and drink about 30 beers and enjoy the football game. My type of guys. Good people.
Bombers are on a mission. Yes. Dude, this is their 6th consecutive division final game to go to the Grey Cup. They've lost the last 2 Grey Cups to Toronto and Montreal, so they're dying for revenge against either one of them.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from 3.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, 14-6 for the Lobos right now. Man, this game is slowing down right now. 44.5 is the in-game total. UCLA and Iowa. Iowa just can't get over the top. Like they keep on moving the ball, but every time they get stalled. And UCLA have the ball on Iowa's 36-yard line right now, 3rd and 10. I'd like to see UCLA score again. Now it's 3rd and 20. They've had a lot of false start problems tonight, this team. All right, Rob Vino in the house with us from Philadelphia. Rob, NFL football, here's a total. Here's an ugly game. The first game, you know what? You guys are on the East Coast, so it's not that hard, 9:30 in the morning. But this game's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast, so I'm not waking up to watch the Giants and Panthers play. But I tell you what, the total is 40.5 in this game. The Carolina Panthers give up 32 points a game. So I've never really seen this, Rob, where a total is only 8 points off of what a team actually gives up. Okay, now we've also seen the Panthers offense has shown some spark with Bryce Young. And the New York Giants, they give up nearly 23 points a game. So let's call it 20. I think it's 22.7. Let's call it 22. So I don't really understand, it's an ugly game, Rob, but I think it's so bad and so ugly that people don't want to bet it, and the total gives us value because the total's so damn low at 40.5.
I totally agree, Gabe. I was at another show earlier with a colleague of mine, and we kind of call it logic school. You just did the math for us. That adds up to 20 points better than what they're asking for in a total. And I've always been of the belief that when the NFL goes overseas to London or to Germany, which it is in this case, that they'd like to put on a little bit of a show. Tough to invite the Giants to Carolina and ask for a show, but 40 is such a low number, 40.5. I had to check the weather, though, because there's always the chance that we run into one of these rain-filled games, but the weather looks good there. I saw 38 degrees this afternoon without any rain. The rain doesn't come till Monday. So I think I'm going to get involved, Gabe. 41's a key number. You can get a 24-17 game and cash your ticket here. It doesn't sound like it's that unreasonable.
No, it doesn't. At 40.5. 6.5, Cam, against the Carolina Panthers. Any thoughts on this game? I'm only playing the total. I don't have a side. For the record, if I was going to play a side, I would play the Carolina Panthers plus the points personally. But what's your take?
I love your over, but I think the Giants, this is their week. Carolina did well before, winning outright against the Saints. I think the Giants take out a lot of frustrations on this team. I think Tracy has a touchdown, Neighbors has a touchdown, and I think the Giants win this game by 16 to 20 points, Gabe. I think they annihilate them. 34 to 17 or something like that. I think 37-20. I think that the Giants murder Carolina.
Rob, anything else in the NFL catch your eye this week?
I'm going to play that coaching bump with New Orleans, Gabe, but I only played it first half. I played Saints first half because the injuries, especially at wide receiver, are just so much for New Orleans to overcome. But you've seen it a zillion times, both of you guys, where emotion and motivation can carry you early, and eventually talent wins out. And I think maybe second half Atlanta's talent wins out. It's the second time around for both of these teams. But Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave both played in that first game that New Orleans lost on that field goal with a couple seconds left. And those guys combined for 170 receiving yards. It's so hard to replace that. They'll probably lean on Kamara, but they're plus 2.5 for the first half. And everything I read this week is that the team is absolutely on fire for the new coach, who happens to be friends with Dan Campbell and off the Bill Parcells coaching tree. So I tried New Orleans first half plus 2.5 as a home dog.
The coaching bump. People want to bump the coach in your backyard off a cliff. Nick Sirianni.
It's almost like he's trying to get bumped. It's like he's standing on the ledge asking somebody to push him.
He's unbelievable, guys. Gabe, you see the play call him trying to end games? I'm like this guy's nuts. The stuff he does is Pop Warner coaches don't do it. Sirianni's he's bad, Rob, Gabe. I mean, bad.
Well, today he accidentally he sort of let it slip about Jalen Hurts' injury, which it's sort of like Robert Salah. It was a bit where somebody in New York should have just told him, listen. It's sort of like Kramer on Seinfeld when he spit coffee on Kathy Lee Gifford and they canceled his book tour. They said, listen, we think it's best you don't do any more of these shows. It's hurting more than it's helping. And I think it's the same thing like with Robert Salah. I said the same thing about the Jets. I'm like, somebody should just tell him, listen, we don't want you doing interviews anymore. You go on a radio show and it makes everything worse all the time. And I'd do the same thing with Sirianni if I was the Eagles. I'd pull him aside and say, listen, Nick, you're safe with your job, but we feel it's best don't do any more media. We'll wrap up with Rob on the other side.
Good call.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from three.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, don't tell me coaches don't know what the point spread is sometimes. Like, seriously, so Cal right now, Cal are up by 3, Wake Forest. There's like 50 seconds left in the game. And instead of trying to kill the clock, they're trying to score. They're running the ball down their throats. They're all the way to the Wake 12 right now. It is 3rd and 7 right now. The point spread's on the line. Now, like I said, I don't know if the coach there, what's his name, Wilcox, he wants to make sure he keeps his Lexus deal with the boosters in Berkeley to get the cover here or something. But it's like, dude, just take the damn knee. I got Wake Forest plus the points here. Iowa are getting all they can handle from UCLA. The total's down to 40.5 right now in this game. We're going to bring in Tony Finn in a couple of minutes. We got Rob Vino in the house. So, Rob, I sort of jumped over the and I can't believe this. They scored a touchdown with 40 seconds left. Wake Forest come back to cut the lead to 3 with a minute left, and Cal march down the field and punch it in for a touchdown. 45-36.
Wow. That doesn't seem like a Cal thing to do. I thought they were more of a intellectual friendly school. That's pretty mean.
Yeah, it was.
That was the protest side of that school right there, Kim. They're protesting Wake Forest.
Yeah, that was the go F yourself part of the school.
It was.
You know what I'm saying? There's 50 seconds left. I'm going to stay positive, and maybe Wake Forest can score in the 50 seconds. But that one kind of sucks. That one kind of hurt. Hey, speaking of which, you know what, Rob? College basketball. I've been killing it to start the year. Not to pat myself on the back. I've sort of just been focusing in on a game or two a night. Like tonight, I played 2 games. I took North Carolina plus the 8. They were getting smashed, but they came back. And I bet the over, and I was betting the in-game over. But I've noticed, Rob, the Gonzaga game went over against Baylor as well. What are your thoughts on this? I'm not scared to bet these high totals early in the season, Rob. These kids can score, bro, and they don't play defense.
Yeah, I've gotten involved in one game so far this week, Gabe. I'm trying to watch and see how this transfer portal and these coaching changes. But I tried to get involved in that BYU Central Arkansas game because this BYU program is fascinating with Kevin Young going the one and done NIL route, which is so unlike BYU. And the Russian kid, Igor Demin, at point guard. I tried playing over 152 in that game. They score their part, 88 at home. They're a real good offensive team, but Central Arkansas didn't show up. That new coach down there has a philosophy, just shoot 43s a game. He comes from the high school level where it was really successful. But they only scored 50, so I lost that game. But I think I have to be on the lookout for BYU in conference play this year in the Big 12, which is a loaded conference. And how about Kelvin Sampson? Kelvin Sampson from the get-go, he could not care who he's playing. I looked up, and it was about 6 minutes left in their opener, and the other side had 29. It was like 76-29. Kelvin Sampson just having his defense rip teams apart right off the bat.
I love it. Love it. There's been some ruthless beatdowns, actually. 23-16 for New Mexico right now. They're not the both Lobos are playing, actually. Lobo football, but Lobo basketball, guys. And actually, this game's in Las Vegas. Henderson, to be exact. Henderson, Las Vegas. UCLA, I kind of missed out on this one. I was thinking about jumping in on the Lobos plus the points. What do you think about this game, Rob? In-game total's up to 162.5 right now. UCLA were like 4.5 point favorites in this game. The Lobos are up 23-17 with 10 minutes left in the first half. Any opinion on this matchup?
Not really. I mean, with Patino on the sidelines for New Mexico, you're always thinking over. The other side, you're kind of thinking under. So I didn't play it. Again, I'm just trying to kind of watch and learn as we go through here, Gabe, week one, and then maybe get more involved next week. In-game, I don't know. I can't give a good recommendation, so I won't give any.
Rob Vino taking an easy way out tonight on the Friday Night Freak Show. Cal's up 46-36. What a bad beat this was. I hate bad beats, the term bad beat, but son of a, man, Cal didn't need the touchdown. All you guys got to do is kill the damn clock.
I got Rice, and they just fumbled at the one, and then they stripped Memphis, and three guys on Rice fumble it back to the guy on Memphis. Like, can you cut me some slack after the Seahawks-Rams game, you numbnuts? God, I need a break. Had enough. Come on!
For the record, it's scoreless at the half in Los Angeles with LAFC and the Whitecaps.
That's good. That's good. We got the Asian handicap. I'm fine. I know the overs problems, but we got Vancouver. Let's go.
Cam's getting desperate here, Rob, on the Friday night, late night Friday show here. Quick hockey up. Whoa, Cam, you're gonna like this. The Kraken came back 2-2 against Vegas.
Plus 2.5, but my Ducks play still.
The Ducks are still down 3-0.
I'm just pissed.
This is why I show up for this segment on Friday nights right here. These are the
Friday's the best show, Rob, but we love you, buddy. It's a lot of fun.
All right, we just lost 46-36. Son of a bitch. Cal win by 10, getting 7. So frustrated. They made it 39-36. They couldn't. It is what it is. So 17-10 after 3 quarters of play for UCLA. All right, so we got Rob for just 2 more minutes, so we'll get him out of here. We appreciate his time. 14-6 for the Lobos over the Aztecs football right now. In-game total back to 60.5. Lobos minus 5.5 right now. But NFL football, Rob, just before we get out of here, we talked a little bit about some of these games. I brought up that Giant total. What do you think about the Buffalo Bill and the Indianapolis Colt football game, Rob? And the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Commanders. Let's start with the Commanders because I'll ask you. We've talked about it a lot over the years. Guys, I've given you the stat all the time. Mike Tomlin's like 53-12 to the under on the road like the last 10 years. Like Steeler games, but the odds makers, sort of like the military matchups, they're kind of aware of it, and they've lowered the totals. And also, now with Russell Wilson, the offense is better. I actually think this is an over, Rob. I see an even 45 right now, Pittsburgh and Washington. I think this one's going to get there and go over. I also like the Commanders in that game, but what do you think about that game, and what do you think about the Bills and the Colts game?
Yeah, real quick, I played the other side of the Commanders game. I played the Steelers, and you're right, Gabe. That defense travels under Mike Tomlin. We'll see what they do, if they can do anything against Jaden Daniels, who at this point in the season now wears the bullseye on his chest. He's proven to everybody you got to come after him, and we'll see if Pittsburgh can make a difference here in that game. think Mike Williams is going to suit up for them at receiver and that give Russell Wilson an extra weapon. The Colts game, I tend to like the over in that game, Gabe, only because it snuck under the key of 47. We're looking at 46 now. I keep looking at that game, and when I look at it, I just see 27-20, 27 or 23, somewhere in that vicinity. Buffalo's going to get theirs. The Colts have proven to be a pretty good offensive team behind Joe Flacco. Last week, a little bit shy. They missed a few plays where they could have scored more points. So I think I'm going to play that one over as long as it stays under 47. Bettors have pushed it down from 48 to 46.5. I think that's too low.
Rob Vino, wagertalk.com. Great stuff, Rob, on the way out here. I asked Lou, and I thought Lou was a little sharper than this because I asked Lou on the way out, how was the Eagles? And he started to talk about the Cowboy game to me. I said, no, the Eagles concert that you were at last week. You and I lost half like my cast on Friday night. You guys don't even know each other. You were both at the same damn show last week. How were the Eagles? Yeah, Gamblu was at the show last week, too, on Friday night. How was the Eagles concert?
Yeah, no, it was tremendous. It's funny. I wonder if that's going to be the new wave of concerts. It's like dropping a concert into an IMAX theater, basically. Constant screen motion, change of graphics. Your eyes have to be everywhere in that place. I mean, I found
too much for me. I got to be honest.
Yeah, she's tapping me on the shoulder.
Too busy.
Toward the ceiling.
You're right, Morency. You make it dizzy and fall down the stairs or something. I could just see something.
No, just give me the stage. I saw like the video of the Grateful Dead. The stage is like this small thing, and it's this massive screen behind them.
Yeah. You look up a cylinder, and Joe Walsh is playing guitar in the ceiling. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
but,
see, that's what I'm saying.
Good.
So, in other words, you got to do acid. It's preferably.
Yeah.
That's. I'll be real. Yeah, I used to do this when I was a teenager and stuff. I used to go to the theater, the Pink Floyd movies, the Led Zeppelin song remains the same. Getting like really zoned out, and getting freaked out.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got into the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from three.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency, the pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people of Boston, and everybody else in between. Let's bring in the Tony Dodger hater, Tony Finn, right now. Tony, I don't trust the Dodgers. As the parade.
Trust. I loved our whole show.
I remember
Trust
I was like, trust what?
Word.
I was like,
yeah, trust? Hey, let's give Tony
Trust
some
is
love.
everything. No,
Let's
I'm
give him
kidding,
one
I'm
thing.
kidding.
I love Tony. Let's give him one thing, and I'll show you. He had Louisville against Clemson. They won outright. We'll give TF a little bit of respect for that one. That was a great pick. Great pick.
And I did. I don't know if you saw the tweet, Tony, actually. Thanks for bringing that up, Cam, actually.
Yeah.
Did you see the tweet? I even tweeted out. I said, shout out to Tony Finn. Great pick on Louisville and great pick on South Carolina. And I even said I disagreed with both. Or Ole Miss. I said I disagreed with both, and you won them both.
Yeah. And when you asked me how I was doing, that was going to be my entry, is that, the one thing, the butt slaps you have coming, the accolades, are that how I always impressed how you understand how important it is to make yourself the best you can be, that you put pretty good people around you, and it's all about team. And that is where you deserve a lot of credit. And the fact that you shouted out, the picks, that I like that. It's the first time that anyone said, hey, Tony, he doesn't need to get picks in. He just wins.
You know what it is, too, Tony? And me and Gabe have been doing
it's
this
the first time you won. That's why I did it. I would have done it before.
I find the new breed of these guys never talk about their losses. I'll tell you when I do crap. I'll tell you when we win a few. And that's the whole thing about this new generation of gambler. Oh, I win. I know you don't. You don't. So shut up. You don't win all the time, bro. That's it.
No,
anyway.
But I will say this. Gabe was nice. It was very nice of him. And I will say this. I failed miserably on the Missouri basketball. Missouri had a double-digit lead going into halftime and ended up losing that thing. It really never ended after the first 5 minutes of the second half against Memphis. If you remember, I'd like Missouri to break that 19-game losing streak. So, but
can't win them all.
Yeah,
can't win them all. But Tony Finn asked me as we were coming into the break if how I'm feeling about the Dodgers, and he said, "Yeah, you've had time to, it's been a couple of weeks now. Feels like it was like last week, a couple of days ago, but." In typical Dodger fashion, I'm looking for more, Tony, to silence the critics such as yourself and your boy, the commish. How's your boy doing, the commish?
Now, you need to give me one. You cornered me. Listen, you cornered me and said, who's going to win the World Series when it was down to the final, I think, 4. It was the final 4. And I told you, I said, there's no way you can't play the Dodgers at this point in time. You can't play the Mets. You got whoever. It was the Dodgers and the Phillies were out. Baltimore was out. The Yankees and the Dodgers, I thought, were no match. The Dodgers were better at every position. I know there'll be plenty of New York fans who will disagree with that, but and here's the thing that may surprise everybody. I think they actually have the better bench coaches too, and we all know how I feel about the Dodgers coaching staff. But they got.
You know what? Tony, I'll take you to Canton, Ohio, the day Dave Roberts gets inducted.
Ooh, I'll tell you. Well, hey, one thing's
you
a
can
fact.
watch it up close because he will be.
Roberts is 100 times better than Boone, and that's not even debatable. Boone's like, oh yeah, I wanted a matchup. They put a nasty Nestor. The guy didn't pitch how long? Like, come on,
Dave Roberts has a World Series championship as a player. He's got 2 as a manager right now. He's got a winning percentage of like 667 or something ridiculously stupid. There's people with way less accomplishments in the Hall of Fame than him. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame despite Tony Finn's criticism.
You're like a pit bull, Gabe. You just keep on gnawing Tony's leg. Yeah. It's amazing.
I will say this. I would prefer that you invite me to Canton when Pete Rose gets in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not happening. Well, at least not with him. Like, yeah, sorry, but you know what I'm saying. All right. If you can, and then master control. Let me get to my college football best bets here.
Let's get it.
I was going to say, though, wait till the Dodgers get Sasaki. And I want to throw out quickly from a betting perspective. Everyone thinks it's a lock that he's going to go to the Mets. He could go to the Dodgers. If the Dodgers offer him money, he'll go to the Dodgers. They're plus 800. I think it's a good bet. What? And the fact that the Dodgers... Yes, Juan Soto. And the fact that the Dodgers, that Mookie Betts and Dave Roberts did a drunk podcast, they're still buzzing, and they basically said, the Dodgers admitted, Mookie Betts will not be playing the outfield next year. Mookie Betts will be in the infield. So what? Who's you know what I mean? It opens up another spot in the outfield. The Dodgers have something up their sleeve, but wait till they get the Sasaki kid. But All right, let's get to the college football best bets, and we'll see what Tony's got this week. He was hot last week. I'm going to start off with Georgia Tech guys plus the 10.5 here against Miami. They beat them outright last year, but don't forget, they were covering a number. They were in that game even before Cristobal screwed up and didn't take the knee in the game. 3 of the last 4 games that these guys have played, either they've gone overtime, they've been 3-point games, they've been close games. The pressure on Miami is starting to build. They were down big to Duke last week, but then they exploded for 28 unanswered points or whatever. So I think Georgia Tech plus the points are a live dog. Rutgers have screwed me this year. I don't think they're going to get to 7 wins, but I still believe in them enough that I don't think Minnesota should be 6-point favorites in this game. Give me RU. Georgia Bulldogs. If I had to pick one game tomorrow, I'm going to say Georgia's going to be Mississippi. I don't understand the number here. I don't know why it's a pick 'em. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia are 48-0 in their last 50 games, besides everybody except Alabama. Alabama are the only team that's beaten them since 2020. All right, and when they lost to the Florida Gators. Michigan and Indiana. Michigan have been kicking the crap out of Indiana for years. Indiana are really good. They run up the score on everybody. Michigan's defense isn't that good. It's sort of reputation. Their defense is beaten down. They got injuries. Guys are starting to think about the NFL now. Their offense pisses them off. They're on the field all the time. Indiana is going to score probably 40 on their own here. And I think Michigan will be able to score at Indiana. Love the over 49 there. Vanderbilt, the Commodores, live dog here. I don't understand why South Carolina are laying 6. All the Vanderbilt games are super close. Give me the Commodores plus 6 on their home field. The Oregon Ducks are just killing teams this year. They're out for blood. They want to win a national championship. They don't let up. They're not going to let up against the Maryland Terrapins. Super cool uniform matchup. But I tell you what, the Terps are in a lot of trouble here. The Turtles versus Ducks. Colorado Buffaloes, baby. I've been riding the Buffs all year long, man, and the Buffs have been really good to me. Buffaloes lay to 4 against Texas Tech. LSU plus 2.5, and Alabama LSU go over the number.
What can you say about Hunter? Besides the fact that he's got to be healthy. Remember, he had the shoulder injury that kind of limited him at, once he got to the end of the season. 17.9, 10.9 last year, and he should be, as usual, a double-double machine. He's got to be able to continue to show the ability to try and shoot the ball from 3.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Iowa Hawkeyes have finally scored a touchdown. 17-17. We got a good one going on at the Rose Bowl right now. A place that Tony Finn knows how to get to. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena. 14-13 for New Mexico over San Diego State. The Aztecs are battling back. The in-game total is 63.5. 17-13 Memphis. I got a money line parlay I'm looking to close out here on Memphis. This is a cool, interesting parlay. I had Dartmouth in the Ivy League. Dartmouth money line to beat Princeton. They did. And I took Memphis. I've been doing really well with this Ivy League football over the last 3 weeks since I've been posting it on Friday nights. All right, so quickly with the NFL, I got some NFL picks on the way out here. These are essentially my super contest picks with a couple other ones sort of mixed in here, but I talked about it earlier, the Giants and the Panthers. The Panthers give up 32 points a game. The Giants give up 22 points a game. The Giants are going to be able to score on the Panthers, and the Panthers are going to be able to score on the Giants. This game's going to go over the number, over 40.5. The Buffalo Bills are going to roll the Indianapolis Colts in the dome there, lay the 4 with the Buffalo Bills. I think this is a get-right spot for the Chicago Bears over the visiting New England Patriots. Look for the Bears to bounce back after they got blown out last week. I think they're going to smash the Patriots. Will lay the 6. I know you usually don't like laying points, but I think the Bears are going to cover. I like the Washington Commanders in this game. Pittsburgh went into a bye. They were playing good football. Now they're coming out of the bye. Pittsburgh as well, if you look at their schedule, they played a lot of teams who aren't that good on offense. They played a lot of teams that they could sort of kill the clock and sort of shorten the game and stuff and bully. They're not going to be able to bully and shorten the clock against Washington. Washington can put points up on the board. Give me the Washington Commanders and give me the Steelers and the Commanders to go over the 45. It's 45 right now. Good number. Give me the Arizona Cardinals plus 1.5 on their home field against the visiting New York Jets. And I'll take the Detroit Lions. I know Lou liked the Houston Texans earlier. I get it. I understand the situational spot, but the Lions have there's too many injuries for the Houston Texans here. The Lions don't let up on a weekly basis. All they do is just keep winning football games. Tony, what's your best bet this weekend?
I like. Listen, we're gonna fade the Rebels going out to the big night. They're going to be taking on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, only 4-5, right? But the Warriors, they run the ball pretty well. They stop the rush pretty well. That's what UNLV depends on right now, is being able to run football to leverage their passing attack. And I like the Warriors plus the 14 points. Penn State against who else other than they haven't lost at home since outside of Michigan and Ohio State since 2022. I believe it was a 2018 loss to Illinois. I really like Washington getting the points against Penn State. Almost 14, at least it was 13.5 last time I looked. In football, Chicago, like Chicago Bears, I like them a bunch. I think they're going to – Moore's going to break out and have a big game. A wide receiver, they're going to sack May about half a dozen times and make a statement after last week's really a poor showing against Arizona. And finally, the Steelers. You mentioned the Steelers and the Commanders. I like this game over. I also like the Commanders minus the 2.5, 3 points there. So that along with Barkley and the Steelers or the Philadelphia Eagles destroying the Cowboys, and in college basketball, Louisville plus or minus 1 point. Look at this line. Louisville against a 13th ranked Tennessee tomorrow. Volunteers, and there's a lot to talk about with this Louisville Cardinals team, but I like Kelsey, the new coach. I like what he has, and I like the situation tomorrow. The fact that Louisville is a minus against a ranked Tennessee club, watch that. Take Louisville minus that point over the Vols.
34-27 New Mexico right now over UCLA. Wow. Speaking of college basketball, this game's in Henderson, Las Vegas, right outside of Las Vegas, just for the record. So it's not a home game. Not a home game for the Lobos. Total's 151.5 right now. Getting more manageable here. There's still 3 minutes left in the first half. You know what? UCLA were the favorites in this game. I think UCLA plus 3.5 are worth a look. I think they're going to chip away. And as I say, they just moved to 1.5. We gave you the CFL for tomorrow. The Montreal Alouettes win the football game. The game goes over the number. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers cover the 3.5, and the game goes over the number. Cam, what are your best bets? What do you got?
I don't know if they're best bets, but I am going to take the Saints with Lou getting 3.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's going to be a pooch for me. We disagree on the Lions game. I actually am going to take Houston plus 3.